Welcome back to engine number 4. This is the next one I tackle for Richard. Seeing that this is the A unit, I'm guessing that the last one that I have yet to unwrap would be the unpowered A unit. So there won't really be much to do with that one, probably. This is an engine that was produced for American Flyer and S scale by Lionel. Lionel bought American Flyer in approximately 1967 and started sometime early 80s with bringing a few Flyer items back. I just completed a repair of a 1991 Alco that I purchased, and it ended up being a surprising amount of things to do on it because it had never been run. So a brand new 1991 sat in a box, never run. The box had been open to look at it, but I took everything apart to inspect it, lubricate it, and found that it had never turned a wheel. And found several things that were broken without, like I said, ever turning a wheel. And then after about 10 minutes of runtime on my layout, maybe 15 minutes, the circuit board had somewhere between 3 and 4 components go bad. So it was a lot of surprises, unfortunately. I'm hoping that's not the case with this guy, so we'll go ahead and get started and see what we find. Report this. So my big concern that you were going to have challenges because of failed components is not the case. Now, I'm not clear what's going on that the engine would not operate, but I have found a few things that I need to explore further, like here. Let's see if I can zoom in. Look how that wire is smashed beyond recognition. It's just flat as a pancake. And what can happen when that gets smashed is you can get shorts or broken wires. So I don't know if maybe there's something like that going on. Probably what I'm going to do is take apart, one motor and chassis on one side and inspect all that and check the wires and then do the other one. What's really interesting, in fact, I forgot to look to see, does yours, no, yours doesn't have a date inside. There are some definite similarities between this engine and the one I have, but there's also some differences, like this big, I think it's a capacitor here. That is not something that my board had. I have a really ridiculous jumper that goes right here and points up where the wire goes through it, and it kept hitting the frame and shorting the engine out, which you don't have that. So I'm like, how in the world? I don't know. There's just some very strange things. But I'm just so tickled that this thing sprang to life. So I'll go ahead and keep exploring here and see if there's any other things that I can figure out for you. And while I've got the motors torn apart and everything and all the gears and stuff exposed, I'll go ahead and lubricate everything up for you. But boy, I'm just excited. So I'll be back when I have anything to update. So here is the Wabash diesel, Alco diesel, a Lionel for American Flyer. And here we go again. I found all 4 of the worm gears split, and where's my finger? Sorry, there's my finger. Okay. So that's 2. . 2 . 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 3, and 4. Now, what is different between this engine and the one I have is it's got a little bit of runtime on it. And so when I spin these, they don't catch it all. It's all very smooth. In fact, I kind of spun them before I did anything. I was like, oh, good, there's no splits. But then when I looked closer, I was like, oh, there are splits. So I guess part of me would be like, just run these things so they fail, because it could be years and years and years before they do, especially if they're smooth. But I've called the owner to find out what he would like to do and how I'd like to proceed. And here's what it does. I mean, it's working really good. I went ahead and took everything apart and lubed it up real good. And I found that all 4 of the worm gears are split. But what's interesting about yours versus mine, which is passing right now, is that when I would turn the drivetrain on mine, the split in the worm gears would actually catch with every rotation, and I figured it was going to tear up the drivetrain. It runs really smoothly, and so I mean it's certainly up to you, but I had a really hard time getting the worm gears for mine, and I'm willing to pursue that for you. But I just don't know. Can I find any? Maybe. Like I said, it took me quite a while to find someone, and then they had to order some, and then they just, they didn't want to give me any more than I had to have because they're so hard to find. So I don't know if they might have a few extra. That's a good question. So let me know, and we'll go from there. But at this point, I've got as you can see, your Wabash is running. I haven't looked at the non-powered A unit. I'll do that yet. Here is your 325 or your 322 SIT. It's running beautifully. Your 325 AC is running beautifully. And I'm still waiting to get some parts for your Northern. There's been several discussions with part suppliers on what to do for the traction tire, because someone mismatched some wheels on your engine, and so we're trying to get to the bottom of what size. I didn't realize this, but there's slightly different size wheels for different years of Northerns, and we want to make sure that we get the right size wheels for you. And so that's taking a little bit of time. So Richard, one of the reasons I do these laps on the layout is to just see if everything's working the way it should. And one thing that is showing up is there is something going on with the power pickup. So watch what happens when the lead unit gets to this switch. Now, what I did is I put the lead unit or the power unit running in reverse because I wanted to kind of verify. When it goes over a switch, this is what happens. If it's going fast enough, it just kind of hiccups but keeps on going. So I'm going to actually take things back apart, because I think that there's a power wire that is either been compromised, isn't hooked up right, or something. Because here's what I think's going on. These engines have these additional pickups between the wheels. And those are definitely working, at least I believe they are, but I think the actual wheel pickups are not working. So what happens is when these pieces here, sorry you can't see what I'm doing, when that piece there reaches the frog here on the switch, it's not actually big enough to go across that and still connect as a power pickup on both sides, and that's where the wheels come in. But something's going on that when it gets to that point, it goes dead, because, like I said, I think the wheels are not working. Now, when I had it running in the first position, it would stutter on the switch, on this switch and that switch. And when I spun it around so it's going backwards, it goes fine over these, gets stuck on this one. So that helps me figure out, okay, it's got to be this rear truck here, and it's got to be the additional pickup from the wheels that's not working. So anyhow, that's just the method to this particular madness. But I want to get this sorted out for you and get this engine running like it should. So Richard, welcome back. On my Lionel engine, there's a wire that comes down here to the frame and basically ties back into this pickup. But on yours, neither one of these trucks has it. So there is actually zero connection for electrical pickup on either one of these trucks other than this pickup here, which I'm just floored by that. Why would so okay, so there's 3 wires going to each truck or each part of this engine. One goes here, and then you have a positive and negative go to the motor. There's no other. And I've been checking ground connections or trying to find conductivity between here and anywhere else on the frame. Nothing. So that explains why this engine has those issues with the switches. I'm also wondering if maybe that is why you have trouble running it on your fast track. I'm just guessing, but maybe somehow this pickup isn't ending up on the best part of your rail, and it's not enough to make the engine run. Again, just conjecture. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dig around and see if I have any small fittings that basically I can take this screw loose and put the fitting underneath here so it's on top of the metal. Or if I don't have a good way to do that, I'll figure some way out to add a wire that'll go from this truck and tag onto this connection here. It could even, well, I don't know how I'll do it yet, but probably I'll fish it up through here and connect it down here where the other pickup ends up. But I guess mystery solved. I'm just really shocked that Lionel didn't have the time or the diligence to complete the building of your engine, or maybe, I guess it's possible somebody took them off for some reason at some point, but boy, that sure does not make any sense. But I think we'll get this taken care of now. So I was really scratching my head trying to figure out what could I do to basically find a tiny eyelet that I could solder jumper wires to. And then it dawned on me, wait a minute, I have a bunch of these sockets that I got with lights one time when I ordered them. And they have these little guys on the end. I wonder. So I had this one that was all smashed up, and I just ground the end of the rivet off, and this came loose, and this came loose. So now I've got the 2 pieces that I need to put on your frames and solder wires to it. And I don't know where I could use this one because it's big. But in addition, as a bonus, we've got these 2 fiber washers, so those will go in my parts bin, and I'm sure they will come in handy at some point. Okay, so I've only got the one done so far, but I added a small bracket and then pulled the screw out, put the bracket with the hole in it underneath the plastic, then reattach the screw, which is pushing down on that. So if it's working, we should now be able to touch there and have continuity. If it's not working, okay, I was going to say it just worked. So there we go. So now we have continuity on these wheels. And I ran a wire up through here and connected it up in here. I actually, even though these were all loose in this wire nut, I added some soldered them, then put the wire nut back on. So now I'm going to reassemble this, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to this one, and then we'll see if we can't get a little better performance on the rail. All right, time to see if the additional electrical pickups, make any difference. We're going to go keep the engine in second position here, go slow through the switch, see if it stalls out. I'd say we've got success. Here are two other switches we're going to go through. Just double check nothing surprising happens here. There's one, two, and last but not least, the crossover back there, which it was hiccuping a little bit. All right, and just to be sure, we'll go ahead and reverse the engine, put it in first position, and run the loop again. Okay, now we have the powered unit back in lead position here. Very nice. Actually slowed it down a little bit too much there. It stalled out just from lack of voltage. But the headlight was still lit, so that was lack of voltage versus stalling because of no electrical contact. All right. Awesome. Well, Richard, okay, so here is your group of engines, and at this point, all that remains is to add traction tires to your 322.